There are two hacks I'm going to give you all today that, in my view, are undefeated.
To get us behind the scenes because like we just see TV and we see some people. It's always really cool when you see like a local anchor then graduate to be a national anchor and you can kind of follow their story. Walk us kind of behind the scenes, like how do people kind of navigate career path as an anchor, because it's not something that we're used to kind of contextualize how that path evolves.
Yeah, well, as you all probably know in this room well, so television has changed so drastically from when I got into it. It was in the 90s, it was still a really good career and a really good business. Of course, iPhones and streaming and all the fractionalization of message communication technology media has obviously changed the landscape of television dramatically. There are still really good jobs. Obviously, network news still has relevance. In Atlanta news still has relevance. I would say your top 20 or 30 US markets, basically think about your Major League Baseball, your NFL cities. There's a lot of relevance to quality journalism in those cities, and quality journalism is a must for the health of the republic for a thousand reasons I don't need to lecture you all on today. Um, but the pathway, if that's what you're asking me, you um, you basically have a passion for it. You try to get good at your craft. You try to connect with people. In the end, what you're doing if you're a broadcaster is you're trying to connect with your audience. How do you do that? If I could put that into 2 paragraphs, it would be worth gajillions of dollars. It's hard, it's an intangible, it's ethereal. Um, but I will say this, the advice that I got when I was really young, and it applies to business, y'all. There's no doubt in my mind. This is one of the most solid pieces of advice I ever got in my whole life, which is as follows. Justin, when you go on camera, be yourself, 100% yourself. Be as authentic as you can be, obviously professional, but be authentic. And either you're going to find out in your 20s, it either works and people like you, or it doesn't work and find out early and go do something else. So I've carried that JP with me my whole life. So when I'm presenting, when I'm talking one-on-one with a client, or I'm presenting to a big room or broadcasting to millions of people, it's all the same. Can I speak from a place of authenticity? And I hope that people sense that.
You know, before his disgrace, stupidity, and a whole bunch of other stuff, I was a huge fan of Charlie Rose, and I would watch his interviews. And there's some interviewers like that today where they spend an incredible amount of time studying the person. You've interviewed presidents, you've interviewed heads of state, leaders of companies in every walk of life, um, and I think this is applicable for all of us. We have a book of the month series, and it's called Read Your Mind by Oz Perlman, who's actually a mentalist. And one of the things he really talks about is just paying attention to individuals makes so much of the difference. Now, mentalism is within the category of being a magician, which is completely different context. But it is a captivating process, and you got to be able to engage with the person who's across and who you're communicating with and connecting with. But at the same time, sometimes forget there's like hundreds of other people, or maybe in your case, millions of other people watching the content at the same time, and you're being your authentic self. Connect the two. So when we are meeting with other people in the world, and you said, stop people, listen to their story, and find out who they are. As we're going in a day-to-day life, talk us talk us through some of those skills that you've kind of learned on the stage and behind the camera, or I should say in front of the camera, and how that applies on a daily basis as we're interacting with people, team members, colleagues, could be investors, it could be other people of walks of life, because I really feel that that is a powerful skill that can actually transform the trajectory of your life as well. Because if you're engaging at that level, at that core human level, it allows you to open up doors that weren't really possible before.
Amen. Amen. I want to address a couple of things. I'm going to give you all today, for the young people here who haven't already figured out life, because I haven't, but I have figured this out. There are two hacks I'm going to give you all today that, in my view, are undefeated. If you do these two things, one, if it doesn't come to you naturally, that's okay, but force yourself to be curious enough to get to understand somebody, and you can actually do it quickly. The second they believe that you actually are listening to them and they want it and that you care because you're just interested in either the human condition or what makes them unique, because everybody actually is by definition. Every human being who is alive and talking to you is a mathematical statistical impossibility, nearly. Okay? So if you approach your meetings that way, that's number 1. And then number 2, y'all, carry through on what you say you're gonna do. If I say to Michael, "Michael, I will get the response to you in an email by the end of today," only a bullet and or a hurricane are gonna keep me from carrying through on that. He may not care, but I try to live that way because here's what happens. People then realize you're a serious person. It doesn't mean you take yourself seriously, but you take your task seriously. Hear me out. Think about a pilot, JP's a pilot, and it's 75-mile-an-hour crosswinds in West Texas. At that moment, if he's piloting this plane, he is at a level 10 seriousness. JP may have had the time of his life the night before, may have the time of his life with his best friends that night in Odessa. If he's out doing an oil and gas deal, I don't know. My point is, when he is landing that airplane, he's at a level 10 of 10. A heart surgeon, when he has your loved one's chest cranked open, God forbid, on the table, that heart surgeon's at a level 10 out of 10. I'm referencing this person because he's actually a dear friend of mine. This is what he does for a living. If you met him around when I see him, you would say, I'd never let him touch my heart because he has a good time in life and he doesn't take himself too seriously. You can apply that same 10 out of 10 level of task seriousness in everything you do. And what'll happen is the people like JP in the world will realize this person's dead serious about their tasks. And now JP realizes I don't really care how much fun and how silly they are and what TV shows they binge or how many days off a year they ask for. I don't really care. This is my hunch. But if they are task oriented and they deliver on what they say they're going to deliver, he'll run through a wall for you. Is that accurate?
Absolutely.